Welcome everyone, welcome to this free webinar. The goal for these webinars is to bring you tools in life and in your relationships. You know, life will always have its ups and downs, and whether we like it or not, so the more tools we have to help us through those moments, the better. So today we have Frank DeGenova, who is the author of The Ultimate Journey, An Earth Traveler's Guide to Awakening. Great book, I read it, loved it. He is a hairstylist, salon owner, and passionate musician. Frank is a master in both Usui and sound Reiki healing. He is an Indian massage practitioner and has developed his own healing massage modality. Frank is dedicated to sharing his knowledge to help others awaken. Welcome, Frank.
Hello, and thank you. And that was a great introduction. I don't know what I could do next now. It's top that one out.
Well, start with that's your mission. Like, how did you get there? What inspired you?
Oh, goodness. I guess we all started from somewhere. And, it all begins from when we're born. And I guess the title of the book, The Ultimate Journey, is basically us coming as souls into our physical reality. And then, getting twisted and turned and getting fed things that maybe are not the best for us. Anyway, we've all started from somewhere. And my... looking back, I'm very disassociated from how I grew up. When I was growing up, there's a lot of hurts and wants and just a lot of disappointments. I mean, I was a crazy kid, hyper crazy kid, full of love, nuts, but I was very empathic. And I don't know what that was. I just thought everybody could feel other people's emotions and know what's wrong. But then nobody reflected that back. I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'm just a weirdo here in this earth. And, so it got me into places where it's a little self-worth. I'm the weird one. I'm the oddball. I'm an alien here. Maybe we all are.
Yeah.
So I closed it off but I've always known there was a truth. There's something deeper, there's something more. And so I basically numbed it off any way I could, partying, drinking, and just not very healthy behaviors. And then I've always knew that I had something to say and to share because, when you can understand people in their pain, you can really connect with them. But when they don't reciprocate back, and you're this kid, I'm an Italian kid, taught to be macho in a certain way. And I'm, I love heavy metal. I always wanted to be a rock star, play guitar. And, this image of me being, this cool Italian guy, it's just an moniker from that I was inside. I was a sensitive sponge, just absorbing people's energies and I didn't know how to deal with it. So I've gone through a few life crises in all areas of all the aspects, the financial, the love, all that stuff. And so I've done a lot of inner work and, as I learn and as I grow, I want to share that with people. And that's my passion, as you said so eloquently in the beginning. I just want people to get it and to feel happy and to not be identified with their story.
That's great. Especially because at some point, I think everyone goes through that feeling where they feel like the black sheep of the family.
Yes. I was a great sheep.
Oddball. But you were a
I was a great sheep because I played both sides. I acted it and then so yeah. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, so everyone feels that, that feeling like no one gets them. It's just weird. And, you've taken it, you've harnessed it into something positive.
Yes.
And you've gone with it rather than just kind of gone, some may go into that miserable place or that why me, this and that. You actually took it and went on that positive direction with it. That's great.
Because I could have went the other way. And I was head the other way. I was a trainer. I was going to hit the wall. But thank God, just that inner yearning. But anyway, yes.
That's great. Well, you made power of choice, right? You made that great choice and you harnessed it in a positive way. That's great.
Thank you. Yes. Awesome.
Thank God you have, because here you are today, right? Able to help so many other people now, just from that decision you made on which path to take.
Yes. And I believe that you can't really help another person unless you've gone through it yourself. I really believe that. I mean, as you help people, you're healing yourself as well. But you also have to go through something. You can't just fake it. That's why, if you don't watch the book was written with such authenticity and transparency. At times I was kind of like, okay, I'm really getting vulnerable here, but how else are you going to connect with people? And people, when they see and they have feedback, I've emails, people crying and just saying, thank you for being real because I'm the same. Or I can relate to that, or I'm not alone.
Yeah, well, there are moments where I was reading and I'm like, wow, he actually put that in here. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow. But then I was also thinking of those that wouldn't normally read a book like this. But because of your approach and that down to earth, way of writing,
Yeah.
I can completely see people that wouldn't normally read a book like this
Yes.
actually would.
And that was my intent, because I'm not here to sit on a perch or a throne, and I'm far from that. I try to be as humble as I can, and I mean, a lot of these books are like, I'm here and then I'm telling you what to do. No, I'm just sharing my experiences of how I did it and what I've learned, and I ask you, I invite you to look at a different way, to look at how I did it. And I'm glad that, and the intent of writing this book was to people that are not really going for the self-empowerment kind of, oh, I need to know how to lose 30 pounds in 20 weeks, or whatever, just like, this is how I'm going to fix it. It's not. Life's a process. You don't just take a magic bullet pill and it goes away. You got to work through things. At the same time, you can flip it over really quick with a change of perspective. So anyway, yes.
This is incredible. Loved it. And
Awesome.
so what I want to ask you is, what knowledge can you share with our viewers struggling in their relationships?
Okay, this is a big one, because um, anybody that struggles in a relationship, be it anything, because we have relationships with everyone, everything, things, animate objects, coworkers, friends, lovers, children. When I mean, that's a good sign. I mean, not a good sign. It's an indicative of a pattern where you're struggling in a relationship. It's because when we were young, we weren't nourished. We have more needs than just water, food. We have emotional needs. We're warm. Mom and dad protect us, but we have emotional needs, because we've been born into this body. Not even known of our real nature. We think that this is only body. We have insecurities. We have emotions. We need to be nourished. Love, acceptance, freedom of expression. And a lot of these times, we don't get that nourishment. And what happens? We have these fractured aspects of ourselves. And we take these aspects into every relationship, into adulthood, and we bring this crap with us. And we try to, we usually attract what's lacking, kind of subconsciously try to fix what we didn't get from a partner or whatever. Usually it's the opposite. So what we do, we get into these relationships subconsciously. They mirror back exactly what we need or what is lacking. And we blame them when they don't do it. They got their own stuff to deal with. They're incapable of fixing us, because they've got their own fractures to mend. Mm-hmm. But we go into relationships with salvation, and we try to change people. That's not how it works. And so we break up and we think, okay, the next relationship's going to be better. And then so on and so on. And we get into all these relationships searching for this fulfillment. And it never happens. We just keep blaming. And until one day, either you become jaded and you think, okay, all men are like this, or all women are like this. And then you're just jaded and you stop growing. Or you think, hey, why is this always happening to me? I'm always attracting emotionally unavailable men or women that complain all the time, or whatever the case may be. And we keep blaming. But when we finally realize that every relationship is a mirror. Mm-hmm. Okay, the reflect back aspects. I told you these fractions. The problem is we try to change the reflection that we see in the mirror. Now,
instead of changing ourselves.
Exactly. The reflection that we see is basically within. So we have to be the love of our life. We have to have self-love. We have to give ourselves that acceptance that we crave, that freedom of expression, being heard, the voice. We always look at outwards. It's all within. So when we get to that point, we see relationships as supplemental, as something that you share your life with, not as a fix, right? So we do that with everything, alcohol. We do that with numbing out the pain. I mean, we always seek is a word I'm making up because it's seek and search. So we always seek outwards for that when it's all inside. So, I mean, yeah, it's not about changing the reflections. It's about changing what is inside us.
Oh, okay. So we are basically looking at relationships and trying to get them to fulfill what we feel we're lacking inside.
Yes, and molding them.
And how about those relationships where there's something in that person where it's something you would never do? Like something where they're harming others, you know, let's say abusive relationships or something like that. But, you know, some stay in that.
Self-worth. It's a lot of self-worth issues.
Self-worth
I
issues.
believe, yeah, because I mean, if I mean, a lot of times, and I was going to say this in my preceding example, there is when we fail at a relationship, we think it's our fault that we failed. You know, we're not good enough.
Hmm.
So having lack of confidence or low self-esteem, we don't know our boundaries. We want approval. So, you know, we believe in promises of an abusive partner that they won't do it again. See, the fact that we let them do it, so we
Mhm.
don't love ourselves enough to say, hey, that's not cool. You don't do that. Sorry, I'm looking at you. I don't know if I'm looking at the camera, but I'm looking at you as a person. I should be looking at the camera. So apologize to all you viewers. Um,
I don't know.
so
You look like you're looking right at me, so I'm all.
okay, wonderful. So going back to that is whenever we track things that we would never do.
Mhm.
Um, you know, let me just sidetrack for a bit and saying I never thought that people could be so cold, so unemotional. Growing up, I was very empathic. How could someone, if you cared about somebody, how could you do that to someone?
Yeah.
But that's you can't expect other to be used. They've learned different language, different. You know, where there's needs. Maybe mom and dad didn't show love. Maybe dad abused mom, mom abused dad in whatever way, and we saw that. That's how we communicate or we try to get our point across. We do that to because that's what we've learned. So I was just with a family member. I won't say who. It's not a close family member, so I'm not putting anybody in the bus. Was talking to me about how their spouse. I won't even go into gender. How they have a different view on everything. It's like, and the family member told me that they never learned that language of the love of the acceptance. So it's fight or flight.
So everything
So
was fight or flight?
not everything, but when it got down, when the crap got down, they went to their default settings,
Okay.
and that's what the work is to undo the default settings. So I don't hope that answers your questions, and if that helps the viewers, I just it's a
So,
language communication.
okay, so in those abusive relationships, though, they're reflecting, let's say, your self-worth by
Yes.
allowing it. But the fact that it came into your life to begin with without expecting it,
Now
how's that
I don't
important?
know about the audience and what they believe, but we do have karmic patterns. There's soul contracts. There's agreements before we've incarnated. I'm getting weird, guys. Maybe you were an abusive in a past relationship or in a different life, and you got to pay the. I mean, as I describe karma, everybody says it's a revengeful bitch, right? But and I was telling my son the other day, we were shopping, and he realizes karma how it is, and I told him, and I even write about it in the book. If you strike yourself in the face, you feel the pain instantly. So cause effect, right? Now, if you strike someone else in the face or an abusiveness, and they don't respond or retaliate, you've just got a loan out of the karmic bank. You have an IOU, you have a debt. So you didn't feel the pain yourself, but you inflicted it. So
Mhm.
you have to eventually feel it back. It can
Okay.
take a lifetime. So we attract people, and it can't be. It shouldn't be for punishment. It should just be for like it hurts when you hurt yourself in the face. Don't do it to other people. So it's almost like it's just like a lesson. Karma is not revengeful. It's not bad.
No.
It's learning expansion. So we're all connected.
Yeah, and it basically today's action creates tomorrow. You know, today's moment creates the next, which pretty
Yeah,
much is karma because you're basically creating that next moment. You know,
true.
it's kind of what you're putting
Yep.
out there.
And then you get to a point where karma doesn't affect you as much because you're not reactive to it.
Mhm.
You know something happens to you, and you're present, non-resistance. You allow, and
Mhm.
you see it. As opposed to interacting with it and then shooting it back, you perpetuate that energetic exchange or create new ones.
Okay, so more flow with it.
Just
More
allow it
flow
to
with
unfold.
whatever's kind
You
of,
know, yeah, let it play out because it's happening for a reason, right? So, but
yeah.
we play victim in a relationship, play victim in karma. We play victim. Poor me, how did this happen to me? Blah blah blah. So when you take responsibility for everything that happens to you, that's when you're free.
Yeah, and actually, one part that touched for me that you were talking about earlier was the fact of kind of like when relationships don't turn out, and you think, "What did I do? I did something wrong." I know, that was that with my marriage. It took me a while to actually believe that I can make a right decision in actually choosing someone this time. Because
Yes,
it's like, oh my God, I don't know if I trust myself to be able to make a good decision anymore. I used to
and
be able
that's
to
it.
make great decisions, and it
Yes.
became like, oh my God. And I found myself that a little piece of being scared of getting into a relationship at that point. Because it was like, how do I know I'm going to pick the right one this time? How do I know like
Yeah.
I'm going to make a good decision?
Well,
So
I
that
think
was
that's good from
tricky
self-worth.
for me.
Yes, the confidence to know that you'll make the right decisions, because whatever. I mean, we live in a vibrational reality, so you'll attract what is needed next. So, again, if you source out your happiness to someone else and it screws up or it doesn't work, um, we start questioning ourselves. How did we let this happen, or how did we let this happen again? I promise I will never attract somebody like this again. But a lot of attraction. I don't want a guy or a girl that does this. But I don't want is
Yeah.
you understand? It's like, don't think of a pink dog. Don't think of a monkey. Whatever you put in your field, you get. Now, we attract it because we need to reflect on it more, and we need to work through it. So getting the, again, sourcing it in from the inner work is, you'll know you make the right decision because you're in alignment with yourself. You're not, that relationship's not going to be the validation or that pat on the back that we look for other people. When we have inner validation, we always make the right choice because it feels good.
Hmm.
Not like endorphins, I'm drunk with love, feel good, but hey, this feels right. And that solar plexus is very important to listen to, because when something's off, and to all you women out there, when something's off, it's off, and you feel it and trust it. But what happens, and I'm a hairstylist as well, as you know, I have many women that tell me, I think something's happening with my husband. I know I feel it, but then they try to rationalize it away with their brains, with their minds. So they don't listen to their intuition, and they confuse what's their intuition and what's mind. So and then they doubt themselves, and then you don't know if you can trust or you can do that. But if you're authentic and you have your compass as your barometer,
Hmm.
all good.
Well, because what I find is when there's an emotional connection with someone, like a spouse, a partner, this or that, because it's sometimes more difficult to know between what's the emotional pattern coming up and what's intuition, where in other situations around that where you don't have as much of that emotional attachment, it's
Indeed,
a lot easier
it
to
is.
know the difference. But within a relationship, it's a little tougher. It's like, okay, what's coming up for me? Something from my past that needs to be worked on? Because if it's that strong, or is it intuition? Because they seem to kind of get more confusing the
You
closer
gotta
you
learn. Yeah, you gotta learn the difference. I mean, that's why doctors aren't allowed to work on their kids or family members.
are.
Psychics can't read their kids or whatever. I mean, there's a reason for that, because once you're emotionally invested and you don't use your wisdom, you use just emotions. There's a difference. You you know, like in a horror movie, it's like, don't go in the room. We have a different. They're like, oh, they go in that room. It's like, don't. Obviously, it's writing and script. But what happens is, when you're involved and immersed in this relationship, you get kind of drunk. You kind of get foggy of what the right thing is. So you're more you're not watching from an outside source, from a witness source, and that's why inner work is good. Meditations is good, so you can learn to be not stimulated by emotions, and because we all want to be loved. And
Yes.
when the love of our life, or we think so at the time, I'm not being jaded, provoke something, we're like, oh, and then we lose our own guidance system, and then we get confused. And because there's I also read a book, Khalil Ibrahim, I think is a poet. He does the prophet. We're two pillars holding up an ideal. So we don't become one person. We don't lose ourselves in a relationship. We are two individual pillars holding up a structure. We don't become one pillar. We don't become Brangelina, or what's the other one with Brad? No, not Brad. It's the other one with Affleck.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Jennifer? No, I don't know what that
Oh,
was.
whatever.
Yeah,
See,
Jennifer and Ben
we,
Affleck.
yeah, it's not amalgamating. Relationships are not about amalgamating, and that's where I think a lot of people get disillusioned with that. And it's not a completion. It's just, you kind of talk about twin flames and soulmates. I mean, there's a lot of soulmates we meet a lot of soulmates, but I think there's really one connection I mean, I believe in twin flames. I'm still working on that one, but I think that you are your own true twin flame and soulmate, because once you've nourished yourself, every relationship's gonna be amazing. And then you find the amazing one. And then you attract and you vibrate from a place of a good feeling. Because when you're angry, you should make a decision. When you're upset, you should make promises when you're ecstatic, because you're like, yeah, sure. When you're drunk, don't make promises, because you're not in your right mind, or you're in your emotional too much. So when you're in a good space of yourself, you can pick the right partner. That makes sense?
And then it does. And well, how about for, situations or in a relationship when two people are arguing, or, they have two different wants, and, they're butting heads.
Okay.
Or, what can you share in that area? Is there anything that you can help us with there?
Yes. Okay. Now, when a little girl, I'm just using little girl and a dad. When a little girl has learned to whine and complain, and daddy manipulates daddy into getting things for her, or vice versa, when the son manipulates mom, you have a child and an adult aspect. And in any healthy relationship, two adults should be present. But what ends up happening is there's one adult and one child. One complaining that they want this and want that. Why don't you do this? If you love me, do this, blah, blah, blah. Or, the other way around. There's a father figure to a daughter. There's a mother figure to a son. So I had one client, they said to me, I'm not going to use expletives on air here, but she says, oh, my husband always wants to get it on with me. Mm-hmm. And I says, well, why? He says, well, she said, and this blew me away. She goes, when he stops treating me like his mother and more like an equal, then he'll get it anytime, like put out sexually. And that made me think, it's like, wow, this is, when there's two kids, they yell at over a toy in a sandbox. So that's the complaining of two kids. I want this, you're not listening to me. You never listen to me. So when two adults communicate, there's give and take, there's understanding, there's emotional EQ, there's emotional intelligence. You understand where the other person's coming from. You don't blame the other person, and you listen what they need, vice versa, and you hash it out in a mature way. Some people are just addicted to the drama of yelling, and because how they know they haven't grown emotionally to say, hey, I'm feeling hurt. I talk to so many women, and guys just say, just shut down, and then women just blah, 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 blah. But then when they talk to me as a hairstylist, they talk to me and they ask me, he doesn't listen to me. He doesn't. I said, do you ask him this? He goes, no. I'm like, why not? Use that language to communicate because once you start going like this to somebody, defensive, right? Yes. Okay, screw you. I'm going to defend myself, and I'll stop listening to you. We're just going to, hey, listen, let's go for a tea. Let's go for a walk. Let's talk. And when you say, I feel like this makes me feel this way, then people respond because they feel that way too. But not when you throw rocks.
Oh, definitely. I do find that there is a big difference. When you come to someone about something, like I find with me, what works the best for me is calming down and being in my space for a little bit to know my own truth, to know what's really bothering me at the core. Sure. Because at that moment, it's all that childhood automatic stuff that kind of comes up first.
Yes.
So when I kind of calm down and come to my core, I can really find what in my core authentically is triggering me to get upset.
Yes.
And then when I have a conversation from that space, from a place of just love and authenticity, this is how I'm feeling because this is what I noticed and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I find that the response is totally different.
Exactly.
Getting all like, what the hell? What is this?
Wah, right. Like when you become mindful and you become aware, we're not on our default settings.
Yeah.
And then eventually, some people don't go beyond that. I think what is necessary is to go into undo the triggers of the default setting, so the works to be, and that's a great thing to do is to, in a relationship, I can offer some advice to your viewers is be grateful. Whenever your partner does something that just drives you insane, thank them for that. Just first say thank you. I'm grateful for, don't say, well, if you want to say to them, they'll think you're a whack job, and that could break the ice too. But be grateful inside and say, thank you for showing me stuff about whatever I need to work on. Because if it doesn't trigger you anymore, you're healed from it. Some people like the drama of provoking, like they don't have anything else. So so be grateful and focus on the good things on your partner. Because if you focus on the bad, you're just gonna get more bad, and you get more reasons to be resentful and to be angry. So if you focus on, because you know what, no one's perfect, and we can't change anybody. I think we've all, my parents have been married for so many years. My mom has passed since, but it's they still think they can change each other, yelling at each other. It's not going to happen unless there's effort on both sides to listen. But it's just blah 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 blah. So I think that the best way to do is to thank them and to focus on the positives, because everybody's going to drive you nuts. So if you just say, okay, that's the way the person is, so what? I do stupid things that drives them crazy. So when you just accept, maybe we weren't accepted as children. We weren't given that acceptance. So we have to say that to the other person. So, that's kind of a thing to look into, because if you don't feel accepted, then we won't accept other people. We weren't accepted. So I'm not going to accept you if no one accepted me. So that's, I'm just delving a little bit deeper, but you get the idea, right?
Definitely. I know I'm sitting here kind of like a bobblehead. I'm just thinking, I must look like a bobblehead right now.
Yeah, bobblehead's good. That'd be good in a relationship. Just be a bobblehead. It's like, yes, dear, yes, dear, yes, dear. Okay, now your turn.
Yeah. Actually, another question for you. You mentioned the 2 pillars, right?
Yes.
So not being, kind of meshing, but being individual. How do you maintain that power? Do you have tips for viewers to maintain their own individuality within the relationship?
First, the first thing that comes to me is get into a relationship with being authentic. Because when that ends up happening, we change a little bit to try to get the approval and to make a good impression. And then when the pixie dust wears off and the clock strikes midnight, we become, we start missing the hamper with the clothes. We start farting. It's okay, right? Yeah. But we start letting our guard down a little bit, and we are a different person. It's a false advertising. It's like, this is crazy. So I think by being authentic and what you're getting, you could maintain an individualness, as opposed to saying, oh yeah, I agree with you. It's like, I hate that shit. But meanwhile, he's like, oh, I love that too. So you're trying to meld into the other person. But if you are an individual, and I'm not saying separation, because spirituality is about oneness, and it's not about dividing and separating. But there needs to be an individualness, male and female aspect, to retain your identity in that, and to know what boundaries is crossed. So I think you can maintain your individualism, but being one. Does that make sense?
Not to me right now.
Okay, so can you rephrase your questions, or maybe I'm not getting the question that you're.
Let's say you're already in a relationship. Like, I get at the beginning of a relationship. I mean, there were a couple of people that I had met, and what frustrated me is I knew they weren't being authentic. They just wanted to win me over. And I kept giving him, that other shot. After a while, it's like, I just want to get to know the person, So I get that, where people kind of, that person. But I'm talking, how about when you're already in a relationship? You're already in a relationship. You kind of feel that dependency, that attachment, and you just want to come into your own, your own, kind of get your own sense of self back. Yet still be connected and in love and the passion and everything. It's still maintaining your own power, your own.
Okay. So that's codependence. You want to be independent in a relationship. You don't want to be codependent. Mm-hmm. Again, knowing yourself, loving yourself, accepting yourself. You have boundaries. You have your own self-love. So you're independent that way. Once you need the other person to make you feel better, to say I love you, to get all those fractured aspects of ourselves, of our childhood that we weren't nourished, we become codependent, and we get stuck into losing who we are and our boundaries. So self-love and just loving self and knowing that you're an individual person. You are who you are, and they are, So I think it's back to that again.
So increasing your own sense of self, your sense of your self-love, your confidence, all of that, just working on and building on that.
Yes. And allowing the other person to be who they are. Guys night out, girls night out. She likes Justin Bieber and he likes Metallica. Mm-hmm. let it be individual.
Yeah.
Let, right? That's like, oh, you have to listen. You know, the guy's got to put out and watch The Notebook. I've never watched Notebook, so I'm just saying, I don't had anybody wanted me to watch Notebook. You know, is to enjoy them enjoying it because you love the person. They love, you know, they love to see The Notebook. Just support them, and you know what? If you love them, there are aspects of them, you'll kind of love that gives them joy. So why not enjoy that and be with a person? You might not like that. Same words. Like, I mean, if you don't like loud music and stuff, and go to Metallica or whatever. I was there on Sunday, so that's why I'm using it. You don't have to become the other person and become one pillar, but you just allow them to be and support them. You don't have to be there 24/7 either. That's not healthy either.
No.
Personal space, personal time, girls night out. So I know some couples that do solo trips. They don't take their spouse with them. Now that's a different ball game altogether, but it's retaining your individuality and not being codependent. I mean, that's the most easiest way I can tell you about that. And I hope that resonates more to my prior explanation.
Yeah. I see the whole connection. And
yeah.
I do see how that not living in a codependent relationship, that could mean something different for anyone. For some, it could be vacationing without each other. For some, no, it doesn't. They don't need that. For some, it may just be one night out or a couple nights out a month. For some, it might be one night out a week. And
exactly.
It would just vary depending on the couple and each person's needs.
Exactly. And exactly what you said. So we're kids, we have needs that weren't met. Mm-hmm. Now we're adults, we have other needs that are not met or they're met. So how do you get past that? You communicate. Hey, and I feel, you know, I feel good when this happens. You know, like you talk about what you need, but not in a way that you have to be codependent. So communication and talking, communicate. You know, it's funny, and communication is a big one. And it's I was driving one time, and you know, with my girlfriend, and we're driving in the car. She asks me, "Hey, are you hungry?" I said, "No, I'm not hungry. Thank you very much." I was like, "Oh, wow, she really cares about me, right?" Like she's asking me if I'm hungry. I was like, "No, thank you very much." So for all the women that know about this, you know what happens next. But 20 minutes later, huge argument. I'm the demon all of a sudden. And I'm like, what the hell's just happened? I mean, no. So guys out there and women, when a woman asks you, are you hungry, babe? You say, no, thanks, but we'll stop by and we'll get you something to eat. So she's actually saying she's hungry. Let's eat together. So always put some power bars or some in your glove box. And so women, I say, why can't you ask, hey, honey, or babe, or whatever you want to say, just to call them by their name or whatever pet name. You say, I'm feeling kind of hungry. Are you hungry? You want to get something to eat? Not to say, are you hungry? And then expect the guy to understand what's going on. And then there's a fight. So that's getting back to what we talked about earlier, is communication and how the needs, right? So
that comes with definitely growing up and experience. I mean, I learned that I think in my 20s. That you don't assume, don't send up signs, just tell them like it is.
And you know what? We respond so much better. I know, call us stupid or basic, but we need to know. And the thing is, you know, a woman or a guy would say, because there are guys like that too, and they say, well, you know, they think, or they even project it. Well, if you love me, you should just know. No, it's not the case, right? Because maybe I show love different ways than you. And that's the languages again that we learned as growing up. We have different ways of communicating. Yeah. So communicate. So keep the power bars in the car.
And I also learned, which I think is a great tool, that with women, they need to talk things through first. With men, they just need the end result. So when a woman needs to talk something out and talk things through, they're best to talk to their girlfriends. Talk things out. And then once they can simplify things, they found more of the core of what's going on, then talk to your
partner. And a lot of the big thing of that is, I mean, you know, when you get home from work and your woman's there, give her 10 minutes. We want to go into a man cave and we just want to just kind of hunker down and you know, get rid of our estrogen, or we want to recharge our testosterone. So I think Men Are From Mars kind of thing, they talk about that. Dr. Gray. In the old days, women didn't work. And it was just like, you know, kind of a typical stereotype thing. So they had, I said this is a joke, lambast me, but they had the hen parties where you would go with other women, bitch about the day, get it off your chest. You come back home, hubby comes home, you're refreshed. You don't need to bitch and complain, and it's fine. The guy does this thing, she gives him his drink, whatever, old-fashioned stuff. I'm not saying it's right. So women are working now; they're stressed out to the max, and they're not in their hormonal balance because they should be doing this stuff. It's like we're built differently. So when everybody gets home, woman needs to unleash. So guys, just, you know what? Put earplugs in if you have to. Just go, yeah. Listen to her. And I find that with my clients, listening is therapy.
Yes.
We want to fix. We want to put band-aids. We want to save the day. I mean, sometimes we won't cut the grass or fix the house unless there's a fire or the house is breaking down. We want to be the hero of the day. Superheroes, right? We want to fix that. So, but if it's not pressing, we won't. So women just think, oh my God, like, right? And it's like, just, no, don't worry about it. So there's a disconnect there. So I think guys, listen to your girl, right? And then after you unload, let the guy go into his cave or recharge, because we have the man cave, we have the fishing, we got to go out and recharge. So we work differently. So when you can communicate that way, it's a lot better. It's a lot better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, you and I think can go on like on and on and on and talk about like everything. Anything and everything, I think. But to start wrapping this up, is there one daily exercise that you can recommend to help increase that, I'd say, that confidence, to keeping the power within the relationship, to fulfill that self-love in order to then give love without the expectation?
Yeah. Give it to yourself first. Self-love, gratitude morning and night. We're not grateful for what we have. We're always going to complain. But I think giving ourselves, not being so hard on ourselves and loving ourselves and being grateful for what we have. So, wake up, do your gratitude list, go to bed, be thankful for the day when things went right, and love yourself exactly how you are, warts and all. That creates a sense of, I'm kind of lost my thought a little bit. What was the thing again to do? Like, for what would you ask me again to?
That you're on the right track. So I do hear where you're going with this.
Yeah, but I'm just, where did you actually ask me? Because I totally lost it.
It's the
years of partying.
That self-love. Sorry?
All the years of partying. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What?
It's starting to catch up to you now. Yeah, nice excuse.
I think a daily thing is it starts from within. It starts from within, and then you could bring it like that. So, but the thing is communication, focusing on the good things of your partner, and giving yourself what you need, and focusing on the good things about yourself. Because whatever you focus on, you get more of. So stop complaining, stop seeing faults, and just be grateful and give yourself love that you need. So I think self-love.
Yeah, and I guess not being so hard on yourself, kind of thing. Being
Perfect.
Even if you're angry.
Yeah,
like,
but honor that.
Angry. I'm a human being. I get to be angry. Whatever.
Just don't use it as manipulation to the other person. Be angry. Let the anger flow out if you're alone, or be angry. Say, I hate when you do that, but don't use that as a manipulation to guilt them into emotional warfare. So that's another thing.
Okay, so yeah, not towards the other person, but like, okay, for example, I'll have just an angry day and I could just feel it inside of me. And it's not that I'm aware not to give it outwards, but it's like in my head, I'm all grumpy or whatever. And I've learned to give myself permission to be in that space.
Yes, but don't direct it to the other person.
Yeah, not to give it outwards, and then I find it stops a whole lot sooner because I start to laugh about it too after.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly. Okay, what? See, now you're laughing, so it's good. So be easy on yourself. We're gonna get mad. We're gonna get sad. We're gonna feel on top of the world one day, and then feel like 6 feet under another day with one pinky hanging out. Yeah, I'm so alive, but I feel like I'm dead. So be easy on yourself and just love yourself. And it's a process. The ultimate journey. We're on a journey. It's now a finish line. It's a process. Enjoy it.
Sounds great. Thanks, Frank.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
everything you've shared with us today.
Thank you.
And on the page, I'm going to put all the links
Yes.
to your book and things like that, and your
Yes. Thank you.
started workshops as well.
Yes, I'm developing an online workshop. I also do Reiki attunements and stuff. But so yes, I do. I have an online course that's coming. I'm working hard on that, and book 2 as well. As a gift, as a thank you for people signing up, if they want to send them a newsletter, I'm going to give away free my meditations in the book, and it's about it's usually about it was $19.95 plus taxes. I'm going to be giving it away free. Anybody that signs up for my newsletter will give that as a gift. It's no, it's just a thank you. It's not a ploy. And I don't inundate. Last time I did a news, what is it? What do you call those things? A blast. Yeah, when you see this, the email like 2-3 times in one day, just like, okay, unsubscribe, right? So this is the way to keep up with what's going on. And sometimes I'll do some posts and some blogs and that, and it's just really heartfelt, but short. And yeah, so.
Okay, great. We'll add that link at the bottom as well.
Yeah, thank you. So free meditation, and and just if people want to email me with questions, I'm more than happy to, because I'm here to help. Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe we can add a link to, I don't know, what do you have? Do you have a Facebook page, or do you have anything like that?
I got Allow, right? I got The Ultimate Journey on Facebook.
Okay, so what we can do is put that link as well. So if anyone has
that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Actually connect with you there. So we'll put that link there so they can ask you some questions there.
Sounds great.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
It's been great. And we'll talk.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. And remember, love yourself, okay? Bye.